Hey guys, I'm bringing you another video today. Today we're going to actually recone this speaker. It's in pretty bad shape. It's completely ripped all along the foam area. I already did one speaker and I already tested it. Sounds really good. It didn't come out too clean. Silicone kind of got everywhere. So I'm going to try it a little different way this time. Hopefully it comes out a little bit nicer looking. So the first thing we need to do on these actually came out of a 2002 Toyota Sequoia. And the part number I think is 8616-AF030. You can see it right there. These are not the JBL systems. I picked up the kit, I think it was like 25 bucks or something like that, for both. They come from Simply Speakers. You can find them on eBay. Basically, they come with a little brush, which I didn't use them last time. They come with two of the little foam surrounds that fit perfectly on there. And then it comes with the adhesive. Now what you generally want to have on hand, you do want to have either some lacquer thinner or some rubbing alcohol. And maybe something like you do need some kind of a sharp blade. This is actually an Olfa knife. Or you can use maybe like an X-Acto knife, because we do need to cut all this foam out of here. And then maybe something to scrape all the residue and stuff that's left over once we get that off, and then maybe a rag or so. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'll bring you in a little bit and then you can see what I'm doing here. So first thing we want to do is we actually want to just get rid of all this this foam on here. So we're just going to start by actually cutting. Let's start up in here on this part right here. You want to get just past the edge of the you'll see like there's like a little black, you can see it on camera right there. So you want to go right there and then just ride the blade slowly and just turn the speaker as you cut it. Now just be real careful when you get down here, like where the connectors are. These ones aren't close to there, so you don't have to worry, but you want to make sure you don't cut the ones that are way up on top. So you want to be really careful there. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. We're just going to ride the blade on there. We're just going to go real slowly. And just let the blade sit like on the actual plastic part of the speaker. And don't let the blade go too far in, because then you're going to hit the frames that are right there. So we want to make sure we don't do that. And if you do have an Olfa knife like this, it should cut through this like butter, honestly. It's pretty. Even the other one, when I cut it, that was pretty easy. Honestly, I thought this was probably the easiest part. The hardest part in this is the actual when you put the adhesive on. So now I got all the suspension cut out of there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to, let's just go ahead and cut this. I'm going to cut the outside part off. See what I'm doing there? And then just discard that. Now the next step we need to do is we need to get rid of all this rubber here. So what you want to do is probably like sit it down and then take your blade and then get it, and then just slowly, you're going to do the same thing. This is going to be a little bit harder here. We're just trying to scrape, keep your blade at an angle so it doesn't fly off and cut you. And just go all the way around. If you have a good sharp blade, you should be able to get this off fairly easily. off there. And we still want to go back in here. So what we're going to do now is, if you have alcohol or lacquer thinner, I'm going to use a little bit of lacquer thinner. Not everybody has alcohol these days, all this COVID stuff. So go ahead and put some on the rag and then just damp it on there. And wet it all really, really good. So let's go like this, get it on there. And basically what this is going to do for you is it's actually going to soften up that the rest of that like felt stuff that's on there, or paper stuff that's from the back of the just from the foam that's on there. So now we're going to go back and we're actually going to really try to clean it really good. So right here we do want to scrape this off. I like to use a blade for this. I guess you could use a screwdriver. Take it off like that. That'll work too, you know. But this, for whatever reason, I think the blade kind of gets, I can get everything I want off of there, and it gets all that glue off of there too. So looks like there's mostly just glue on here left. There's a little bit of paper right here. This is probably the messiest part of the whole thing. You want to get this as clean as you possibly can. It looks like this little short stubby screwdriver works pretty good. There's a chance of you cutting yourself too. Back and just clean that off. Try your best not to get any on the actual cone itself. Just get another rag and just kind of lightly dust off whatever's on there. All that stuff was on there, so pretty clean. Make sure to go back and make sure like all right here, you're cleaning all that off of there. There's still some stuff on here. See, like there's some right here. See that? Just want to make sure you get all of it. I usually go over it a couple times just to make sure that I'm getting everything that's on there. The cleaner you get it, the better it's going to grab. It's not going to move on you, the actual foam part, okay? This takes the longest, I think. And then you want to set up in between when we put the adhesive on here to the adhesive on here. So well, that's really clean right there. Put this rag down here to cover that dust up. Check your cone. Kind of push it back and forth. Doesn't make any noise. Means the voice coil's good. And so this thing is basically going to lay down like that. Okay? So the way you're supposed to do this first is put some adhesive all around here, then lay it down on there, and then push it down, and then once that dries, then you start to lift up the edges, and then you put adhesive all on here. This is the easy part. The hard part is here. So I was thinking of doing this a little differently, because I did it on here and it made a mess. Look at that. It just splued out, and then I had gaps in there and I had to fill it in. And so I was thinking if I just laid a bead on here and then just popped it on there like that, I'd probably be better off. Maybe lay a little tiny bit on there, but let's go ahead and give it a shot. Then once we put this coat on, you want to let it, I would let it sit for a good hour. So there is a brush. So I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and coat this on here first, like this. There's like a little lip right here, so I want to get on there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spread it. I think this will work a little bit better than the other way. Just because it was oozing out too much. Just try to make sure you're covering every part of that lip. I did get a little bit over here. Which doesn't really matter, so I'm looking at it. It's a little bit more right here. Make sure that it looks semi-wet all the way around on that lip. Now, I am going to put a little bit along the edge here. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to make sure that it's going to grab. I think the first time I used it a little bit more than I probably should have. Now they say to use your finger to go ahead and do it, wipe it all around. But I'm just gonna kind of use the brush. This also helps with giving you a little bit more time for it to tack up, because they want it to tack up a little bit. As you can see, it's starting to tack up. Let's get that lid back on that cap on the here, and then this, we're going to grab this, center it. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it along the edge there like that, and then I'm just going to drop it on there. And there's an actual lip here, like, kind of line it up. And I'll send my tap on it. Oops, sorry. Send my tap on it all the way around. So that looks like a little bit better. Not as gooey like this other one. Look at how bad that is. That one came out a little cleaner. So we're gonna let this set up for about an hour, and then we'll go ahead and then we're gonna lift up the edge over here, and then we're gonna go ahead and use the same adhesive here and do that same technique. So we'll be back. Okay guys, we're back. We let the speaker sit and set for about an hour. It's pretty dry now. So now what we're going to want to do is basically lift up this edge here, and we're going to want to put glue all along this edge. There's a lip right there, so we want to make sure that the speaker actually sits right there. It's going to sit right on that lip there. We don't want it going over that lip like that. We want it actually right down here, right where that lip is. You can see it right there. You know what I'm talking about when you see it. So we're going to go ahead and add some glue, some of this adhesive, and basically just what I would do is just lift it up and then just apply it. All the way around. What you can do is just apply some, and then you can do is spread it. And then keep turning it. And then just keep adding. The adhesive to it, and then just flatten it out. Little brush. It comes with a little brush. I mean, you could use your fingers if you want. I don't want to get the stuff on my fingers. It was kind of a pain getting it off the first time. You might want to do this kind of quickly. Just make sure that it's right on the edge. Really what you want to do is kind of want to let it tack up a little bit before you position it. But in our case, we could just try to start positioning it now, because it's almost right on the money right there. And as long as it doesn't like start to lift up on you because of the tension, like right here where it's kind of lifting up, it's kind of have like, it has like a little bit of a bow right in here, so we want to kind of push and flatten that down. And this adhesive dries pretty quick, so I mean it starts to tack pretty quick. I would say it dries in about a half an hour, but I would definitely give it much more time than that. Today it's kind of a cold day here today, so we want to make sure to, and then just go back and just make sure that you're really kind of pressing down all along the edge. Yeah, this one did come out a lot nicer than the first one I did. It did still spread a little bit. Like here it came out pretty good. Here I put a little bit too much adhesive. And the problem is if you start wiping it with, say, lacquer thinner, which you can, some of that lacquer thinner just does get down in there, and then it starts to release it, and then you got to start adding more adhesive. So that's kind of what happened to me the first time I was trying to wipe it. I couldn't really wipe it afterwards. It tacked up pretty quick, and then it just made a mess. So you're better off just kind of leaving it. It might have a little bit of the adhesive, but at least you know that it's actually sealed down, and that's the important part. We want to make sure this thing's not going to be flapping around and it's not going to sound right. I did test out the other speaker in a customer's car. These were actually from a customer's car. We took them out. We were going to throw them away, and I said, you know, let me buy a kit and see if I can actually fix them. because these are kind of hard to find. The customer ended up buying some used ones for about 80 bucks, almost $90 with shipping. And I mean, I could have repaired these probably for him. Would have been 25. I probably would have charged him another 30 bucks to repair them. So he would have spent like 50 bucks, and he would have had a way better, newer type looking speaker, because those other ones were already used. They were off of like an 02 Sequoia, so they didn't, you know, they're old. You know, I don't know. They sounded good when I put them in, so hopefully they'll last him a couple years. I told him, well, I'm gonna try to repair your old ones, and maybe I'll be selling them to you. He was okay with that. So, no big deal. He was gonna toss them in the trash. So that's actually really good set. It's set in there. Just make sure you go all the way around and make sure that it's flattened out. It's because it's kind of cold here today, so this adhesive it's taking a little while to tack up. And so I'm noticing when I'm pushing down, it's still some areas it'll still kind of push down a little bit. So just keep going around and around until you feel like it's pretty laid down flat all the way around. And then that's pretty much it. You want to let it tack up. I would let it tack up. I'm going to let this tack up till tomorrow. Give it a full day to cure. But you can usually these you can let them tack up for about an hour. But I would definitely, if you have more time, I would definitely let them tack up and dry overnight. Then that way when you go to install them, you're not going to have any issues. That's what I did with the other one. I let that one tack up for a day and dry up, and it was good. So we're good to go. So you can see a little bit on the top, like up there. I mean, obviously you're not going to see any of the speaker, but what came out a lot better was in here. It didn't come out as sloppy as the other one did. Like I said, I actually brushed it onto the other side of this rubber surround, and then I just put a very little around there. So anyways, thanks for watching.